Good evening. Welcome to the Lancaster City Council meeting. Everybody could take a seat. Thank you. City Clerk.
Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Molly.
Present.
Mann. Underwood
Present.
Jacobs.
Man, is that what?
Did you hear he said here? Thank you. Underwood Jacobs. Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Christ.
Present.
Mayor Chairman Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation tonight is Pastor John Metters from Christian Life Assembly.
Let's stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we have this privilege to come before you this evening, that we have this privilege through your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, I pray your blessing upon this city council meeting, that you would give our elected leaders wisdom and direction, that you would bless their families in the time that they serve us so well. Father, we pray your blessing upon our city and upon all those in the city offices that serve us. And Father, we just give it to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Raj, you want to do the
Yes.
Sure. Please put your right hand over your heart and join me for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic which it
For which
stands,
it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
visible,
liberty and justice.
with justice for all.
Okay, we're going to take NB5 out of order. Mr. Mann decided to phone it in today. He's on the phone, so we're going to do that one vote, and then we'll move on.
Can the city attorney give an explanation how this is possible?
Well, it's a phone. You see, it's an amazing device.
Pursuant to the terms of the Brown Act, a member of a legislative body such as the City Council may participate in a meeting by telephone if it is appropriate, if the meeting is noticed in such a way as this one was, so that Mr. Mann could participate in this particular item for which we need 4 affirmative votes in order for the item to pass. So that's what we are doing with NB5. And we're going to handle that item first and then allow Mr. Mann to go back to his business.
Thank you.
So, Ken, what's so important? Never mind.
It's called work.
Thank you. Mr. Cottle, or is it Mr. Bozigian? Okay.
Mayor Paris, City Council members, I will briefly review the incident, the flash flood we had last week, from preparation through response recovery and then through future mitigation. Jason will take you on a virtual tour of a couple of the flood areas so you can see it. And then council will then consider resolutions confirming an emergency and allowing the city to immediately advance some required projects without complying with all aspects of the California Public Contracts Code. So that's what you're going to hear over the next several minutes. In terms of preparation, on Thursday, October 15th, 4:45, a major storm and flash flood hit the Antelope Valley, up to 4 inches of rain documented in some areas. The National Weather Service has identified it as a 1,000-year storm. As you all know very well, the time to prepare for an emergency is before the emergency occurs. That includes predicted storms and such, and this storm was no different. When it was apparent that there could be a chance of rain, the crews were briefed and mobilized for possible mobilization. We always get a list of who the standby personnel are, so we all know who they are. Equipment is pre-staged and signage is pre-staged. And in the normal course of operations, and this is important, and budgeting, we always clear and maintain infrastructure throughout the year, and we have the right equipment and plans in place before an emergency. So that's in preparation. In terms of response, for this event in particular, and a lot of rain events, signage is incredibly important. People don't think that always, but you have to warn the public, this is where a flood is, this is where you should slow down, this road's closed, things of that nature. We also closed some roads, cleared roads and drainage, addressed the known hot spots. We all know, just as your house, if you know where leaks are in a city, you know where the hot spots are. Alleviated flooding to the extent possible, assisted stranded motorists, calling tow services, address the impacts in critical facilities, assessing those critical facilities. It's important to note that for the Sheriff's Department, the city, and fire working together, the first goal is safety, health and safety. The second is rendering aid, and then protecting property. And then the Deputy City Manager, Jason Caldwell, kept the council informed, and also myself as well, too. I was 2/3 of the way across the country. The impacts of the storm, in particular, on Amargosa Creek at Avenue L, were that water intruded onto the roadway. It was contained and cleared as quick as possible, and we'll show a picture of that in a second. It was monitored throughout the night. Within 5 hours after the end of the storm, the water had receded back into the creek itself. There were 15 homes identified in 3 areas. Jason will take that through you later, that have mud and water intrusion. We contacted, through Andrew Noga, all of the homeowners, stabilized the situation, meaning addressed street flooding, made an assessment of the homes, and the immediate is housing and resources. The city had 4 homeowners in hotels that evening to make sure that they were able to have housing for that night. Next, we go to recovery. And on there you see a couple pictures. The one on the far left is a mudslide that went into the aqueduct, which you've read about. The aqueduct is also shown there with a crack on it. Bottom left is the Amargosa Creek at Avenue L. That's debris that's caught by the cage that's there to keep people out and to catch the debris. And then you see one of our trucks there, and then that's upstream at Amargosa Creek on the top right. In recovery, the first thing you do is you schedule and deploy your resources. We initially went to a 7-day-per-week schedule from sunup to sundown. Open roads by Saturday, mud and debris was removed from the roadways. The drainage infrastructure was cleared again and maintained. A couple things in Amargosa Creek during recovery, we have undertaken silt and debris removal, clearing the underpass, and then dredging the stream up and downstream from Avenue L for capacity and flow. While there was no property damage based on that area, we want to make sure that it has additional capacity for the future. On the 15 homes, we continued contact with the homeowners, offered assistance in documenting damage, provided roll-off trash bins, city crews and volunteers continued to haul off mud and debris. Red Cross was called out. People need cleaning supplies and such. Those are provided. And we had one homeowner who we continued after a couple of nights to provide housing to. What most people, and this is after a couple days, the Amargosa Creek. I apologize for the graffiti there, but didn't think it was right to airbrush it out. Mitigation is a critical component to anything. It's after recovery. You have to improve for the future. The history of our city, geographically, we're at a low point in the Antelope Valley as a jurisdiction in terms of elevation. We can discuss the fairness of having to take water from other jurisdictions, but it's a fact that we have to deal with, and the city's always had to deal with since incorporation. It's just also like it's a fact that we're less susceptible to wildfires and mudslides. Since 1977, Lancaster's always invested in drainage improvements. Some old-timers remember rowboats in Avenue I when the city was first incorporated. I see Mr. Vo shaking his head. We continue to make those improvements. This particular council has made 2 significant improvements over the last 4 years. A major drainage and retention basin was added to Avenue I and 20th Street East, which protected homes over there, and the same kind of configuration and retention basin was added near Valley View School and Paraclete High School, which has also protected those. I can tell you firsthand that over the last several years, those 2 have saved significant damage. But a drainage system evolves. It's based on new development, new drainage patterns. It evolves over time, and this event was no exception. We did observe flooding and the intensity different from prior storms. It's likely because of the level of the storm, 1,000 year, the burn areas, the drought, which has allowed significant debris and accumulation in the hills and such. But we identify, based on this storm, 3 areas that are going to require mitigation for a secondary drainage overflow, which Jason will go over now. But before that, I'd like to make 2 observations. One is not to minimize whatsoever the impact that this has had on people, on some people, but overall, the city was prepared and fared okay. And we also have a very effective, committed staff. We have today Richard Long, I think, is here in the back, who manages all of our crews who are out in the field. We have Andrew Noga and Alan Thompson, who are here dealing with our emergency communications, and they had to step up. In particular, Andrew, Kelvin Tainatonga was the person that did it for us, and Andrew stepped up very well and in quick order. And then, as I said, Jason Cottle, who took care of business here and kept the council informed. With that, Jason's going to take you through Google Earth and show you a couple of the flood areas.
Thank you, Mark. Mayor and Council, as Mark mentioned, this was a 1,000-year storm that impacted about 3 main drainage corridors within the community. It was a very quick storm. It started about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Most of us experienced that, and then slowly or quickly dissipated to about 11 o'clock at night. There was very little rain noticeable at that time. So it was a very quick storm, hit very quickly and very hard. 3 of the main corridors, they began in, from what we could tell, in the foothills. The picture that Mark showed of the aqueduct is approximately in this location here, where it was silted up and mudslide within the aqueduct. From here, there's a drainage corridor that exits from the south to the north on the aqueduct. That you can see the drainage corridor come right through here. It comes out here through these power poles. This drainage had a significant amount of flow coming through it. As you'll note, as we progress north, this drainage corridor combines with another great drainage corridor. Let me back out a little bit. And heads down 70th here, as well as 75th here. There's 2 drainage corridors coming out of this side. So this in the far west had an immediate and instant impact on 70th West, specifically where we were picking up some of the vehicles out of 70th from mud and silt. But also, this water tracked through these neighborhoods, Sunny Slope specifically, where we have a member that works for the city who had video of this Sunny Slope as literally curb to curb with water. And it goes through these neighborhoods and ends up in the terminus, which is the low point, as we all know water ends up, into 2 locations that receive flooding. One is here at Lyric Street, and the other, I'm having difficulty seeing it, is Camden. And if you look, there's drainage facilities that are designed to empty these cul-de-sacs or these low points. One drainage facility is here, located here, and the other is we'll put the, where do we get street view? Here, where we'll get the street view, where you'll notice a drainage inlet. This is during construction, so this is a stormwater prevention here. A drain inlet that's designed here, and an overflow point that is designed here. The amount of water overwhelmed these facilities and intruded into these houses in this location. Can you help me out there? Andrew? You got it? Let me go to. Huh? Oh, there you go. Thank you. I'll let you have it next time, too. So as we progress north, the same condition exists here in this location of this low point. In the cul-de-sac, you will see that as we proceed down to a street view, the same strategy as relates to stormwater is in existence, where there is a drain inlet as well as a low point to exit those neighborhoods. Again, in this situation, those facilities were overwhelmed, and then those houses impacted. Katie, if you want to go back to out of street view. The second location, is the same location, beginning in the location of the south of the aqueduct, and progresses through where we see here is AVEC. We're all familiar with AVEC up on the hill. You'll see this drainage corridor as well as this drainage corridor that begin on the south side of the aqueduct. And these south side of the aqueduct has drainage corridors that go underneath the aqueduct for obvious reasons. They're both separated at this point. They then converge at this property located here. This is M8, West M8, and then go into a short underground drainage channel there, and then come above ground again through this concrete channel and that flows here into, which is now the City of Lancaster at Avenue M. Typical flows here, this is a very normal location to have typical flows where the water would flow down here through or down easterly on Avenue M and then into the neighborhoods and eventually end up in the drainage basins. The amount of flow was significant enough that it not only went straight through Avenue M and also went down or easterly on Avenue M. That location, once it came into this location here, it impacted these three homes in this neighborhood here. What exists back here is a block wall, and I can't get street view on it because it's too far off the street. But basically, this served as a dam for a period of time. Once that wall was breached, in essence, that flood and water went into those neighbors, into those residents' backyards, and it impacted these three houses. And also the flow that continued down this street, also that continued down this flow, this channel, this neighborhood, this street, ended into, again, as we explained before, the low point of this neighborhood. And the low point is this inlet to this drainage basin, which is designed to capture that flow. As we move to the street view, again, you see our facilities are designed to, again, a drainage inlet as well as a spillway. This is an elevated drainage, so it's an additional drainage. These, again, were overwhelmed and impacted these neighbors in this street here as well. Okay, you can take me out of that. And then lastly was the Amargosa, which I think we're all very familiar with. It is the major drainage course in existence. And as Mark showed on the picture, that there's a grate in front of that drainage corridor that seemed to have been impacted by a lot of brush and debris, slowed the flow of the Amargosa to the point that it also, it also overwhelmed this drainage system and began the flow not only easterly and westerly down Avenue L to 10th, but it went into the Kaiser Permanente parking lot and then ended up sheet flowing through the desert through its normal course of drainage onto 10th, where it was captured and put back into the Amargosa drainage corridor. The unique part about this was that at about midnight, we came and saw this flow, and it was about 6 inches above, I would say about 3 inches above the curve line. We then went and inspected some sites on the east side that is a typical flooding concern. In about a span of a half hour, we came back, and the flow was about 6 inches underneath that culvert. I think that showed the magnitude of the speed at which this storm came and the amount of flow at which it came, so that there was this consisted for about maybe 2 hours as it relates to the flow, and then it basically dissipated into nothing. And as Mark mentioned, we are now in there cleaning that debris and that siltation. As it relates to a couple of the construction projects that you're approving tonight, each one of these locations where there's drainage systems, we are going to be modifying them to increase the capacity of those systems. As Mark mentioned, the mitigation measures, these are opportunities for us to identify where we have deficiencies and fix those deficiencies. So with your action tonight, we'll be looking at those 3 different sites that we said in those neighborhoods and remedying those by providing a greater outflow in case another storm happens. And as we all know, we're in the preparation mode for El Nino, so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we look at that from our mitigation measures. We don't look at this 1,000-year storm as we don't have to do anything because it won't be another 1,000 years till this happens. We've identified a unique challenge, and we're trying to remedy that with these immediate construction projects. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions and or turn it over to Mark.
Tell me about Armagosa Creek.
Amargosa Creek, the details of where it begins and how it flows and
There was a buildup, right? There was a silt buildup before the storm?
There was there was a buildup up on the screen at which is there's the design for it to keep like mattresses, trash, debris out of the channel because it's a very long channel underground. So if there was something to get way deep in there, it would be very difficult to get it out. So there's a screen designed to capture some of those materials.
And to keep people out.
And to keep people out. What happened is that, from what we can tell, is that screen was clogged with a significant amount of fresh brush and debris. And we didn't see any mattresses. We didn't see any, junk cars or anything. We had a few tires and some things like that you typically see in the desert. But most of it was sage that had come off of the banks as they eroded and actually plugged into the fresh sage. It actually plugged into the drainage corridor. So what we did is we removed that screen, removed all that siltation, removed all that debris, and now are working on part of the mitigation is to identify a mechanism to assure that doesn't happen in the future, that we're able to clean that screen out.
So did the clog happen before the storm or after the storm?
We believe it was during the storm. It was the flow brought debris into that screen.
Thank you. It's misleading to say it's a 1,000-year storm because there's a temporal element to that. If you're looking at quantity of water, we're going to get storms a lot bigger than that in the next season because of the amount of time. They're not going to be 2 hours. They're going to be 2 or 3 days. We have to be more ready than we were.
Absolutely. You're never ready enough, and we agree 100%. The intensity of this storm put it all at the same time. A lot of the systems are designed for continuous flow. Like I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we had a 3-day storm that was 3.5 inches of water. But when you spread it over 3 days, it has a continuous element to it. But yeah, we never believe we're ready enough. We've continued to make improvements, and we will with this. As Jason said, being able to lift that screen immediately and let it flow through is the goal, even if we just take it off and lay it down.
It also occurs to me that perhaps we shouldn't be letting them build houses at a flood point. I mean, the houses became a dam, didn't they?
Everything's designed to be able to drain, and obviously there was a deficiency in this, and regionally I would say there was deficiencies, and we have to fix those, which is what we're going to do.
Okay. It would be preferable if we designed before they built, not after.
I agree with that. I would, again, say the nature of it is we hadn't seen that happen before because of the intensity, and when you see flooding, you deal with it. You design drainage systems, and developers do, and cities do, to a certain standard, which is not a 100-year, 1,000-year flood standard, that much water at the same time. It's not an excuse, it's just a fact. It's the same thing as when you're in a floodplain. You have to elevate if you're in a floodplain, and if you're not, you can use different construction. But when it occurs, we fix it.
Thank you. Good news, no injuries, no deaths?
No injuries that were reported to us, no deaths, obviously, that were reported to us, and the number of homes is held true, and thank you for asking. I think one of the remarkable things to see is how neighbors and family and volunteers from churches and other places just come to help people they've never met before. Restaurants bring food to people. And it continues to reaffirm that if you're in a good community, people come to help people.
Thank you.
Out of respect for the individual that did pass away in Palmdale, there was a death in the city of Palmdale, though, correct?
That is correct, and I apologize for that. I was talking about Lancaster.
Okay, any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
Any questions?
We have one more item to add into the record, so
Okay.
Mr. Bozigian will be doing that now.
With his glasses. Which one do I have to read this? This is to be read into the record before council considers. Given what happened during the past storm, immediate action is necessary to complete the drainage system capital projects referenced in the presentation without delay. Is this correct? And we need to begin to work without delay because if there is another powerful storm before the projects are completed, even if it's not a 1,000-year storm, we would have additional significant mud and water flow that could pose a hazard to life safety and cause serious damage to public and private property.
Ken is misbehaving. We'll have to.
He's partying.
Okay. Any communications?
No communications.
Is there a motion?
I'll move we adopt resolution number 15-61 confirming the existence of a local emergency in the city of Lancaster, and adopt resolution 15-62 asking that the State Director of Emergency Services declare the same, and adopt resolution 1563 asking for the governor of the state of California to proclaim it a state of emergency and to notify that all the answers are yes to Mr. Bozigian's questions, and requesting a oral vote.
I'll second that motion.
And authorizing emergency expenditures and the performance of all necessary emergency repairs in accordance with sections 20168 and 22050 of the Public Contracts Code?
I'm
That's
sure
what I
that's
said.
what he
I
meant.
thought so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Ken.
I'm sorry, we need a roll call vote because we're by phone.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to do a roll call. Don't hang
Wait a
up.
minute, Ken.
Okay.
You want to call the roll?
Agency Director Mann,
Present.
how do you vote?
And I voted yes.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chair Christ,
Yes.
Mayor Paris,
Yes.
Councilmember Agency Director Molly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now you can go, Ken. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. I'm going to excuse myself.
You know, we could probably get SOAR to do a hologram. You know, Okay, now we're going to have a presentation, the Bridge to Empowerment. Who's announcing that? I guess we should get everybody up to the table that's going to sign the proclamation. I guess you know who you are.
That is correct, and I don't know if Sue Dell is here.
She is here.
Oh. In all her glory.
You've been working out.
Yes, with my shoulder pads. Good evening, Mayor Paris, Vice Mayor Christ, council, staff, and guests. As part of the Bridge to Empowerment season, we're here tonight to sign proclamations declaring October as Lancaster's Bullying Prevention Month and recognizing our school districts for the wonderful work they do to encourage positive behavior among the youth in our community. The Tapestry Commission, including Nigel Hawley, Dr. Mark Marshall, and Dr. Arisha Muhammad, who stand behind me, would like to invite Mayor Paris to take a seat at one of the tables. We'd also like to invite the following people to come forward and take a seat at the tables as well for the Bullying Prevention Proclamation signing. Antelope Valley Union High School District Board President Danita Wynn, accompanied by Superintendent Dr. David Vieira. Eastside School District Board President Martha Johnson, accompanied by Superintendent Dr. Mark Marshall. Lancaster School District Board Board Member Chris Grotto, accompanied by Superintendent Michelle Bowers. Joining them is John Miller and Sandra Price. Westside School District Board Member Linda Jones, accompanied by Superintendent Dr. Regina Rossell. While they're taking their positions, I will read the proclamation so you will know what they are signing. I just need to have one. Whereas schools make substantial contributions to the future of America and to the development of our young people as responsible and productive citizens, excellence in education is dependent on safe and distinguished environments. And whereas bullying has escalated to unacceptable proportions across the globe, interfering with the emotional, social, and academic development of our youth. And whereas we must safeguard schools for our children and guarantee them an environment that holds promise and security. And whereas it is critical that we acknowledge and heighten awareness about the negative effects of bullying, which may include the risk of teenage suicide. And whereas it is the personal responsibility of all citizens of the City of Lancaster to create solutions to prevent bullying, including educators, parents, business owners, civic leaders, and law enforcement personnel. And whereas the City of Lancaster wishes to continue the coalition of anti-bullying schools, this coalition will include the school districts of Antelope Valley Union High Schools, Eastside Union, Lancaster, and Westside Union. Now, therefore, be it declared that the community of Lancaster, California will designate the month of October 2015 to anti-bullying activities and bullying prevention awareness in all participating schools and throughout the community, and that we stand together as a community united with unwavering resolve to take action today. In witness whereof they have thereunto set their hands and caused the seal of the City of Lancaster to be affixed this 27th day of October 2015. Hold on. We want you to be able to move your pen, Linda. Okay. We're so very proud of the continued efforts the schools are taking to address bullying and encourage good citizenship at the schools and in our community. Just in the last 4 years that the Tapestry Commission has been involved, we have seen new programs and activities surface that not only discourage students from bullying behaviors, but that also offer skills to empower students to feel comfortable in their environment at school and in our community. The school programs build self-esteem and provide tools for addressing the immediate difficult situations as they occur or the handling of the resulting emotions when the student has experienced bullying. These programs are modeling positive conflict resolutions for adults. The children are modeling for adults. Because we're going to need it when we're battling each other in the senior centers. These programs include, but are not limited to, the Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports Program, Random Acts of Kindness, Taking a Pledge Against Bullying and Wearing Wristbands, Restorative Practices, videos, cartoons, posters, and quotations, Safe School Ambassadors, Conflict Resolution Sessions, Safe Zones. Again, we thank our local school districts for recognizing and addressing bullying and student self-esteem in your students. We know that you have other things you also have to do besides making sure that everybody has a voice and feels safe. These students are our future, and the future looks bright when we all work together. And now I would like to invite all the school district representatives, students, and the council to come forward for a photo opportunity. And that's the cue for the parents to pull out your cell phones. Kids, come on down.
Stand right here. Stand right here. It'll get to be a zoo now. How you doing, sir? See the picture?
Yep.
I've done this before.
Huh?
I've done this before.
Once or twice.
Would you rather be in there or standing back there?
Now,
See? See it?
you're like the control center here.
I am. I have the switch too that shuts off the mics.
Oh, nice. That is the most important part of the day.
It is. If everyone can look to the back of the room, Melinda, photographer, can you please raise your hand so they know which one you are? Okay, that's the city photographer. That'll be the official shot. So if you guys could all just stand and look toward Melinda, who I hope just, raised her hand, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. You could remain so the family members can get their shot. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Appointed to the city council. To the city council or to the criminal justice? Criminal justice. Lisa Rodriguez.
She's the one I'm going to use as leverage to get you to the...
Okay, let's take 10 minutes.
He just said 10. We're going to take a 10-minute recess. See, if he's going for the visual effect, then it would be white, Indian, black, white, white, and then Hispanic. Right. So,
well, when I walked in, I saw it was switched. I thought about the visual aspect. It's smart.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Fold the legs up, guy.
Yeah, it makes it much easier.
Watch them because those are special.
How many people are going
Move it to a crowded area, then
and then fold it up. It'd be good too because not only she's a minority, she's a woman. It's a woman.
I was going to give you an award down there.
Notice I didn't show up. What do you think about Lisa Rodriguez on the criminal justice last week?
We did?
We did. We already did.
Mistake.
Well, me and Rob talked to her.
I know.
There was Howard's ineligible to move up to the planning commission because he moved. Last week he moved, and he moved into a pocket. It's the county. So, as far as visual, and visual only, not have anything to do with personalities, if you moved Shelby up to Raj's place, on the planning commission, and we let Lisa Rodriguez sit for the court justice here. The visual will be like white, pink,
Raj. Raj.
Raj.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What about Bahram's
Turn that
daughter? Did you talk to her?
How good is Jason too? I'll get us to Vern.
Alex.
Okay, everybody ready? Just think, Marvin, if they had that anti-bullying program back in the 1970s, never mind.
I wouldn't have had to beat you up.
Didn't hear that. What'd you say?
That wasn't funny. City manager, anything to be removed?
No, sir.
Is there a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Consent calendar, anything to be repulled?
CC4?
CC4,
I'll give you one guess.
I know. Is there a motion with all the others except CC4?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent calendar as currently comprised, pulling CC4.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It's unanimous. CC4, who's presenting that?
It's no presenter, just...
Here's the speaker? Okay.
It's the adoption.
Mr. Reeves?
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I've had an opportunity to look over CC4 and look at the environmental impact report. And I'm not pleased because there's a big void on things that need to be done in this project. And I'm surprised that we will even consider it unless we have the developer do some mitigating things. For example, let me give you a couple examples. In this EIR, it says that construction activities would result in equipment exhaust orders that may be considerably objected by some. Hazards and hazard materials was not analyzed. Land use and planning was not analyzed. The project site does not result in the loss of mineral recovery. It does not contain any mineral deposits, but when decommissioned at the end of the operational life, it would allow access to on-site minerals. The noise is not analyzed. Population and housing does not contain any residential issues. Okay, in the Valley Press this week, it said that the city of Lancaster has contracted an attorney to sue the city of Palmdale about the power plant. And I agree with the city that power plant will be detrimental to our community. But how can we approve an energy plant that is lacking in the environmental report? At the same time, we condemn Palmdale for their circumstances. I guarantee you, you go ahead and sue Palmdale, and I bet you there's going to be a friend of the court that's going to bring this up and say, Lancaster approved a solar plant with all these environmental problems, and here they are complaining about us, Palmdale. And I don't know if the judge is going to think about that. Before I would approve this, I would have the developer at least making an attempt to rectify or try to rectify some of these glaring discrepancies in this EIR. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept CC4.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. NB1? Any speaker cards?
None.
Is your ADD coming through?
Let's hear it anyway.
Good evening, Mayor Paris, Vice Mayor Christ, Councilmember Molly. I stand before you tonight to present the students that we recommend be appointed to the 2015-2016 Youth Commission. Created in 1992 by the Lancaster City Council, the Youth Commission provides a forum for Lancaster students to give input regarding the needs and concerns of youth in our city. Differing from the Youth and Government Program, where Lancaster students work with city council members and city staff to learn more about how our local government works and serves the residents of Lancaster, the Lancaster Youth Commission develops a work plan that develops what projects will be beneficial to the local youth in our city and then works on those projects. The incoming members will also participate in volunteer projects such as the MLK Day of Service, and will continue the Lancaster Lunchbox program, which provides nutritious meals to children when they leave school on Friday evening, and that will last them throughout the weekend. The Youth Commission will also play a large role in the Youth and Government program itself, as some of these students will be selected as city staff and city council counterparts to work on a project that exposes them to the duties of local government. Before I introduce the students that we recommend be nominated for the commission, are there any questions of the council? Okay. So Josh Thomas is going to help. Mr. Mayor Paris, would you like to help with anything?
I'm going to come down and swear them in, but go ahead and get them all up, and I'll be with you in a second.
Okay, yes, sir, we'll do that. Our first student is Daniela Hidalgo from Antelope Valley High School. Danielle Stafford from Desert Christian High School. Jasmine Denise Johnson from Eastside High School. Stephanie Orellana from Eastside High School. Samira Carpenter from Lancaster High School. Jillian Punasami from Paraclete High School. And Justin Urbanski from Quartz Hill High School. Mayor Paris?
Justin's in trouble.
Good evening. Right. Raise your right hand. I, say your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. I do that just to mess you up. Okay. And the Constitution of the State of California. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And that I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. You're supposed to be the best I got. the cream. All right. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. You know, I messed that up when I was sworn in to be a lawyer. There's something hard about it. I don't know what it is. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. Upon which I'm about to enter. Wow, you made it. Well, welcome. So I want all of you to come sign your oaths. They're all right here. And we'll get some pictures with your family. If the parents would like to meet parents and friends, go ahead and take your pictures. Okay, you guys want to come down and get pictures? Stay up here. You got parents? You can come down and take a picture. We're family friendly here. Yeah, the mayor would like the parents to join the students. Feel free to join your children. Yeah, the parents can join. Take a picture first. Let's get a picture.
Mayor, can you angle this way? Can all of you angle this way? Here. Would you like the parents to join you here again? Yeah, let's get the parents to join their children. Parents are joining the children. Right here, everybody. Okay. Which one is it? It's like NB04? Yeah, NB4. Thank you.
We didn't actually vote them in, so we do need to do that. Just do it now.
Okay. Before you guys leave, we got to vote you in. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the Youth Commission as proposed.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. NB3, any speaker cards?
Yes. We should do NB2 first.
Did I skip NB2? Oh, I guess I did. NB2.
NB2.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Molly. The resolutions before you are the required first step in the election process for the election that will be held Tuesday, April 12th, 2016. These resolutions call for the holding of the election for the positions of mayor and 2 city council members. They request specific services from Los Angeles County. They establish the filing fees and the fees for their candidate statements, and they establish the provisions for the conduct of a special runoff election if a tie vote is received. We're excited to offer this service to the citizens and to the potential candidates of the city of Lancaster. Some of the benefits for running the election locally include Linda and I will work very closely with the Assistant City Attorney Jocelyn during the entire election. The candidates and citizens will receive immediate personal attention, and there will be historically we have early returns. The returns are usually done by 11 o'clock that evening. With the county, the results may not be known until the next day or even later. Some of the dates for the upcoming election: the filing period begins December 21st and runs through January 15th. The Secretary of State will determine the order of the ballot on January 21st. Write-in candidate filing period is February 15th through March 29th. Permanent vote-by-mail ballots are mailed out March 14th. Voters may request vote-by-mail ballots from March 14th through April 5th. And the last day to register to vote for this election is March 28th. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
David Paul?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, good evening. Hey, we have an election coming up, huh? That's great news. You know, elections are the lifeblood of democracy, and I enjoy participating in them. Mayor, I want to tell you a little bit about that letter. The first half was cut off, and what I started by explaining was I've run against you 3 times for mayor, and how awkward it is to go out and campaign and have to defend you. Because people say horrible things about you. And really, that's...
Can't believe that.
Yeah, that's the actual difference, I think, one of the main differences between us. I'm just a lot nicer than you are. And...
You see why I don't have the camera on you?
Yeah, exactly. I got it, and, you know, it'll be a good election. I hope it's a fair one. Last time it got a little mixed up because there was circumstances involved that I understand, distractions and stuff. But I would like you to... And this is the beautiful thing about being me. I have a record to run on, and I would like to talk about that. And I would like you to talk about it with me. So I hope you'll show up for some of the debates and all the things that go along with helping the people pick a mayor. Because there are some things that separate us, and I would like to talk about them. But just generally speaking, you know, tonight, one thing, the cameras, it bothers me. And I hope you know that. My wife is watching tonight. We spent our 25th wedding anniversary on the boulevard and supporting our city and just being, and she can't even see the joy in my face when I talk about that. And that's a shame. And I would like you to change that.
David, how do I do that for you and not do it for Michael Reeves?
You should do it for everybody. I watched Hillary Clinton testify before the Benghazi committee. Her testimony is for that committee, and yet they showed it to everybody. And I think that takes the validity out of the argument you make that people stand up here and grandstand. It's not for that. It's for the people at home to see what's going on here. And if they can't see my face, I can't communicate as well as I can. So please don't stifle conversation. Welcome it. Let's talk about it. You know, that's the thing. We don't have to have any animosity. That's a crazy thing about American politics. They think you have to hate your opponent or hate the opposition party. That's ridiculous. We can get along. We can solve things. As a matter of fact, working together is the only way to do that. So I ask you again, please restore the cameras and let's have a fair debate about the future of our city. I would really appreciate that.
David, can you make room for the possibility that the election was not a factor in when I dealt with the cameras?
Well, no, because you said it was.
No, what I said is that I thought the cameras were encouraging nut jobs to get up there and grandstand. They were even saying hello to their families at home, and they were rushing home to see themselves on television. And I just don't think that the Lancaster City Council meeting should be the, Jerry Springer show? Is that what it was? The Jerry Springer show?
Okay, we can...
Wait a minute. And I wasn't directing that at you. I mean, I would really, I enjoy your comments, and I would be happy to have the cameras on you. But let's be honest, if I put the cameras back on people's faces, we have Michael Reeves protesting the passage of the minutes. And we're here for hours unnecessarily. Now, I'm not going to pull any punches on it. That's what happens. Now, I'll see if I can figure out a way around this with the city attorney. But I do not want it to be the Jerry Springer show. All right?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I won't allow that to happen either. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Zink.
I have to agree with Paul. I believe that you should be able to see the person's face, especially during election time. And censorship of any kind is wrong in this country.
Are you being censored?
Huh?
Are you being censored?
It just doesn't create an even playing field because you're my equal, I believe. But that's right. The only person I've never really seen anybody say hello to anybody at home except when you say hello to your wife or you say I'm coming home, you know. And I think that's a beautiful thing, really. But I'm just saying I've never seen anybody make a show for the public, you know. At least I don't do it.
All right.
And I'm glad the city of Lancaster has this youth commission, and hopefully maybe they can take up the lead of ideas for the park bond measure that's going to be on November 2016, LA County park bond measure in November 2016. So maybe they can help lead that and come up with park projects for the bond measure. But regarding the election, you can see the benefits of how locally, if we run our elections, we get the results right away. Everything's better organized. We're paying people that live here in Antelope Valley to run them. We should require, 450,000 people should require that LA County give us our own election office, employ local people, run by local people for all school districts, water districts, all districts, city, all districts here locally. We'd be ranked 21st, 22nd in population out of 58 counties in the state of California. We deserve that. We shouldn't have to wait 2 days for the election results. We shouldn't have to travel 3 hours to go to Norwalk to run for office, like I had to for state senate. That's ridiculous. Then 3 hours back home, and then I had to go twice, because then you have to fill out more paperwork. It's wrong. This is wrong. So I want you guys to fix it with the city of Palmdale. Whatever you got to do, you got to fix it. And I'm saying that to benefit everybody and create local jobs. Because if we can create one job, it's worth it. But I think it will create 20 jobs. Bring our tax money back home. The other thing is regarding the elections, I think I lost my train of thought. That's okay. I'll do it in public closing, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, regarding, this is very important, district elections, I think Lancaster should put an advisory thing on the ballot asking the citizens if there should be district elections in the city of Lancaster. There's nobody on this board that represents the east side of Lancaster. The only reason I believe that there's a diverse board is because you appointed them. So I think it's a disadvantage. And just like Palmdale, which I always said Palmdale should be districts. I'm a big supporter of districts because it does bring
Don't I get any credit for appointing?
Huh?
Don't I get any credit for appointing?
No, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think these people that you appointed were absolutely perfect. But the thing is, there's no representation from East Lancaster.
Thank you.
I need to respond to that. I think there's representation. There's nobody that lives on the east side, but we make certain that the people of the east side are well represented. And just look at the power plant. Okay, it affects the east side. This entire council was up in arms, and I went to 42 different meetings representing the east side. So I would respectfully disagree with you that we do represent the east side and we represent them well.
Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. Mayor Paris, I don't get up here for publicity. I mean, this is a
Michael,
sacrifice.
come on.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't get up here for publicity. This is a hardship for me health-wise. It's a hardship for me financially. But I do it because I care about this town. That's why I go to the meetings, and that's why I speak. As far as having the election in April, I think the voters had an advisory some years ago that they preferred that the election would be held concurrent with the general election. The other day I saw in the Valley Press where the city of Palmdale published a notice that they're going to have their council and mayor election in November. Since we're working with the county of Los Angeles, we ought to inquire whether we could have our election in November of next year, because there's probably going to be a high turnout for the presidential election. And the cure for democracy is more democracy. The more, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the speaker cards. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 15-57, adopt resolution 15-58, adopt resolution 15-59, and adopt resolution 15-60.
Second that.
have to wait for me to add.
I'm so sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. NB3, any speaker cards?
Yes.
No, 0. Okay. Mr. Ludicky? Could we have the attenuated version?
Thank you, Mayor Paris, members of the council. Very simply, what you're being asked to do under this action is to repeal a section of the city's current municipal code that was adopted some 30 years ago. That section currently requires that any building with greater than 10,000 square feet automatically is required fire sprinklers. Since that was adopted 30 years ago, obviously the requirements for where sprinklers are required and not required has refined quite a bit over time. By repealing this section, we would simply place ourselves into the position of following the requirements that are in the California Building Code, and that in some cases requires sprinklers for certain hazardous occupancies that are less than 10,000 square feet. At the same time, there are certain occupancies greater than 10,000 square feet that it does not require sprinklers for. So it would eliminate a redundancy and in some cases eliminate some conflict that currently exists. So we would ask that you introduce the ordinance and bring us into line with what the state of California requires in terms of fire sprinklers.
Is that the building code or the fire code?
It's the building code. The fire code is actually adopted all as a part of that by the state.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Reeves?
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I was reading this in the agenda, and I can't believe that this was put in the agenda, and it is just waiting to be a lawsuit. You know, the last line of this recommendation, it says, thereby removing unnecessary restrictions and expenses to property owners and developers. Now, what if there's a big fire and people die? And they're going to come back to the city of Lancaster and say, okay, you did it because you didn't want to charge the property owners and the developers. I mean, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Paul, do you see my point? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we introduce ordinance number 1009.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. And before,
No speaker cards.
let's waive the whatever we need to waive. Is there a motion?
It's just an update.
Do we need the update, Joe? Come on down, give us the update.
If Joe's giving the update, I make a motion that we not hear it.
I can't wait to hear the end of this one.
Do you care where the cameras are pointing, Joe?
No, I'm fine with wherever the cameras are pointing right now. They're pointing at Joe's better side. Good evening, Mayor Paris, Vice Mayor Chris, and City Council members. I'm Joe Cabral.
I want to be clear, we do have a Human Relations Department, and if at any time you feel like this is a hostile work environment, you should make your feelings known.
See that? No.
Don't let him frighten you.
Okay.
He's just a bureaucrat, okay?
I wonder why he was all dressed up.
Well, I'm pleased to be here to present to you some of the exciting projects that have been implemented over the course of the last handful of months in the Communications Department. But before I do that, I would like to introduce the members of the Communications team who are here tonight. We have Nicole Allen, Katie Byrne, Luke Duncan.
Katie, let me see that wave again.
It's a parade wave. Parade wave if I've ever seen it.
That was perfect.
And unfortunately, Juan Abad and Rebecca Dykstra are not in attendance tonight, but are part of the communications team. First of all, I'd like to start out with the Outlook magazine. Everybody in this room, I believe, is familiar with the Outlook magazine. But what you may not know is due to the very hard work of Phyllis Fergoso
and Rhonda Perez, we are now up to 20 city partners. And as you do know, the city partners have content in the Outlook magazine. And as a result, we're up from 36 pages to 44 pages. So there is a lot of information that goes into each Outlook magazine. And parenthetically, 62,500 people receive this via direct mail, whether they be businesses or residents here in the city of Lancaster. Very important publication. I'd like to speak about Channel 28 for a moment. You may have noticed behind me here that about 4 months ago,
That's the best picture you could get.
It's the staff.
Yep.
No. The adoring staff. You may notice that there are 4 cameras behind me over here, and there's one over the dais. The picture quality of these new cameras, coupled with the new system located right behind the wall there, vastly increases the quality of our web-based viewers that's being delivered right now as we speak via the web, and also the picture quality on our Channel 28. And that was implemented about 4 months ago with little fanfare. We just did it. But I do want to let you see the new look at Channel 28. You'll notice there's a weather ticker. You'll notice I'm left-handed, so I'm showing it on the other one. There's a weather ticker over here, and also scrolling along the bottom, I'll go over here, everybody else does it, China president visits Britain. We also have an international news ticker. So for instance, today when Northrop won the bomber contract, that would have scrolled across the bottom, for instance. So it's almost as if you're watching CNN or Fox News on our Channel 28.
So is Northrop throwing a party for us all? I mean,
Should be.
yeah, that's a game changer.
Absolutely.
Life got better.
1,100 jobs, somebody told me. Social media. I'm very happy to speak about the social media here at the City of Lancaster. Our Facebook page has more than 10,300 followers. And for a city of our size, that's very impressive. And the city of Santa Clarita, for instance, wins a lot of awards. And they have more citizens, and our Facebook followers outnumber them. And I'm rather proud of that. And City of Palmdale is about 5,500, just for comparison, and they're about the same population. So we have a rather impressive following on our Facebook. Twitter, we nearly have 2,300 followers on our feeds. And Instagram's our new kid on the block, and it's got over 400. And if you look at the amount of percentile increase in the last half year or so, they're all growing rather substantially, and I do forecast continued growth at that rate, at least in the short term. Now, we recently relaunched our e-news. You may have noticed in September we relaunched e-news, and it is now a clear, minimal look, more streamlined, very much more viewer-friendly, and it's mobile-friendly. What I mean by that, if you look to the right, whether you have a smartphone, a desktop computer, or a pad, the content will conform, will lay out correctly no matter which device our viewers at home or wherever they're at are using. We have more than 13,000 opt-in recipients of our e-news, which is a rather appreciable number. And I should note that we've actually seen an increase in that number since we relaunched in September. Now, we supplement our channels with a lot of videos, and you guys are shown at least 1 or 2 videos most every council meeting, so you're familiar with the work of Luke and Juan. And in addition to them going on YouTube and Vimeo and Channel 28, we also produce 30-second versions that play in the cinema. And we know that those work because we get a lot of comments in the hallways about, hey, we heard your voice, or we've seen you, and the such. So, and then we also cut them down to 15 seconds because Instagram will let you play a 15-second video. And so we repurpose a lot of videos. We can cut it down to 15, we can cut it to 30, and we can get the message out. An example would be Fill the Drafts coming up on November 7th, for instance. We could send that out over Instagram. What we're very proud of is our new website, which launched 2 weeks ago. And you can see it has very dynamic visuals. And once again, it's mobile friendly. And once again, I show the smartphone over here, the iPad, and the desktop. And we looked at a lot of city websites, and we're very proud of this new streamlined redesign. And like I said, it's mobile friendly, just like our e-news.
How are we driving people to the site?
We cross-promote through all these channels. And that's a very good point. We drive all of the channels drive everything to the website. The website is our main communications portal. So if we produce a 30-second spot in a cinema, it'll say www with our URL. If we send out a Facebook, it'll drive you to the website. And so everything is driven to our website. And we plan on cross-promoting even more now that we've redesigned the sites, all the communications channels.
You know those emails you send us whenever anybody gets kidnapped or something like that?
Yes, very well.
I never got one.
Well, we don't want people getting in the, interfering, so we're very careful who we send it to. Why can't we put those on that?
You can. There's some time-sensitive information for rollback investigations. It would take more editing.
Well, couldn't the sheriff's department tell us this is okay, this one's not?
We could. I know what you're trying to get at, I think, and we can work towards that. I think it would be a little more complicated to that because sometimes they come in late and I just redact them myself.
Is that why sometimes they're 12 hours late?
Stepped into that.
Yes,
that is.
You're busy redacting.
If it happens to be while I'm sleeping, yes.
Captain, could you, from now on, send those emails to me directly? Sometimes people forget who the mayor is and who's the city manager. It's just something that occurs. Could we do that?
I believe we can
Before
probably
they're
do
edited?
that.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?
I said I believe we can probably do that, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
That was a yes.
Now, the other thing is I never get any from the fire department. Don't you guys do anything?
Yes.
Well, talk to your PR people. I'm serious. I'm thinking that if we could constantly putting up to the minute updates as to what's happening in the city that are interesting, we would drive more people to it, and it'd be more fun. So why don't you work with them on that, okay?
Definitely. No
okay. And we'll work on the editing later.
Okay. I'm still continuing here. In addition to all the platforms I've just mentioned that have been updated, we also host quite a number of media events throughout the year. And shown here is, many of you may recall when Governor Brown joined Mayor Paris at BYD's unveiling of California's first long-range electric bus. And that garnered a tremendous amount. What's shown here is the regional coverage.
We're not as tight anymore.
We have to do one of those dual buses you ride separately. But in addition to the regional, we also get a lot of national and international coverage, and I don't need to read these to you by any means, but I will note to you that on the bottom right, the U.S. News and World Report has not occurred yet, but is supposed to publish next week, and that's going to be a story about Mayor Paris and the hard work of all the city staff.
Oh, that's the one where I started talking too much. Oh. I'm worried about that one.
Could you be more specific? We'll find out next week. Yeah, so in addition to all the ones listed there, U.S. News and World Report.
All I know, my wife said, "Who's that?" And I told her, and she went white. She was very upset.
Just increase their sales in the Antelope Valley, though. That's good.
And what we're going to do now that we've updated all the platforms I just discussed, we're going to run a survey soon, and the survey will be delivered via all of the platforms. So whether you receive our Instagram, our e-news, it'll be advertised on the website, you will have an opportunity to take a survey, and we will, of course, compile the information and better all the sites per what our users
We could
would
do
like.
a survey as whether people want front shots or...
Okay.
So, David, that's what we'll do. We'll do the survey. We'll see how it comes out. If you win... Okay.
And with that, I'd like to open up the floor to any questions any of you may have. I'm sorry, Joe.
I have a question for Joe, if I may. Joe?
Yes.
You know, you're mentioning all the surveys are all electrical or email stuff. How about the ones of us that don't have computers? You don't have a write-in,
Yes, all of the details have not been
stuttering,
finalized,
Joe.
but we could easily make surveys pick up a bull at the various counters, and we are planning on having it dropped via the AV Press. So there will be hard copies, because she's correct, a lot of people still only read the paper, which is fine. And we are planning on dropping in the newspaper also.
Are there computers people can use at the senior center?
not yet, we're working on that. It hasn't come through yet.
You're kidding me.
It's all compiled with Mississippi, and that's correct.
No, I think it's appalling.
So what do we do to fix that?
It is at the library.
You can't go to the library. There's nothing but perverts there.
How about if we call the supervisor's office tomorrow and tell them I need to get 10 computers over there?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, you got it.
Let me know next week, Fran. All right?
But I talked to him, well, I guess I'll wait for my turn.
Joe, where is the Outlook magazine printed? Outlook magazine is printed down below, but the representative lives in the AV Press.
Why isn't it printed up here?
Because of the size of the presses, we don't have, this isn't run off an off, it requires an offset printer. The person who designs it, Davis Communication, I think Vern can speak, has been working in the AV for 30-plus years, I believe. Tracy Davis and Kelly, both Antelope Valley residents, based in Lancaster.
Can we make sure that that's still true?
Chet Davis?
No, that they don't have the facilities.
Okay, no, yeah, we
We will look and see if anyone in the Antelope Valley has services. And we will do that before the next Outlook magazine.
You know, Lancaster Baptist does theirs local, don't they?
I think what Joe's saying was likely the case very recently, but we will absolutely, before the next Outlook magazine, have an answer if there's anyone locally who can do that print run.
We can do that. Just so you know,
I don't want to drop in quality, though. The quality of that magazine is superb.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Just FYI, the same printer that I'm referencing does all the work for Lancaster Baptist, just FYI.
You know something I don't?
Yeah, I think APG.
Okay, I've actually met with them regarding design work and we're actually utilizing them on our Revive 25 program. And I believe in Revive 25 at least, we're utilizing them. And the Parks Department utilizes APG extensively too. So yes, we are aware of them, and we will.
I just would prefer that the printing, anything that we can do local,
okay.
I would prefer that it's done local.
Like Mark said, yeah.
With the Union B.
Yes. We're looking into it.
That's Gerald.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Motion to receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Oh, I forgot that. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. Council reports?
Mr. Mann's not here for CR1, and we do have a speaker card.
For council reports?
Yes.
How can you have a speaker card for council reports?
We always do. Not presentations.
Mr. Reeves, you want to give a council report? He really does.
Mayor Perez, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're all receiving our tax bills. If you haven't, you're probably going to get it. I looked on the tax bill 2007. I couldn't see anything for sanitation district. Worked my way up to 2011 sanitation district, $300. Worked my way up to the current sanitation fee, almost $500. And we're supposed to get $20 back next 3 years, $20 back.
Darn, Michael, what are you putting down those sewers?
Well, you know, we failed as a city, and I guess I'm not going to criticize the council, but we failed as a city to nip this in the bud when this started, when they started increasing these fees like crazy, because this is the main thing on your tax bill, and it drives people insane. If you've read the Valley Press, well, like I do, I read the legal notices. 3 or 4 houses a day are foreclosed on in Quartz Hill. 3 or 4 houses a day. And I wondered, these people own $300,000 or $400,000 on their homes, and I wonder, is it because they can't pay their tax bills? Is that what's going on in this town? There's senior citizens that lived here all their lives. They own their houses. They can't pay their tax bills because of the sanitation district. And Chairman Mann said they were going to refinance their bonds and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Nothing's happened. And I guarantee you, I don't care if the election is in November or April, you guys run in for city council and mayor, I'm going to beat you up on this. You're going to hear about it. This is ridiculous.
Does that mean you're running?
This is ridiculous that this has allowed to happen.
He said he wasn't going to do what he's doing now.
Well, you might think it's funny, but you'll hear about it because the citizens of this town are having difficulty paying their property taxes because the sanitation district is out of control.
Thank you. Anybody else have a council report?
I do.
Okay.
Everything's good we're still looking at the differences on the power plant and how they are affected. Mr. Malley joined us at the AVA QMD. He also joined us at AVTA, and we appointed new attorneys for AVTA today. Our electric buses are working out great. We're teaching the bus drivers how to actually drive them because it's different than driving the diesel buses, but it's still half of what the diesel buses cost, so it's very good. But the last thing is we did meet with 3 representatives of LASA just prior to the council meeting today and told them that they asked us what they wanted us to do, and we asked them for more money. We asked them for our fair share of money. We asked them for a lot of different things. So Mr. Bozigian and Mr. Cottle was in the meeting with me, and it was a very good meeting. And hopefully that we'll receive a little bit of money for that. So it was a good meeting.
Thank you. How did the Lancaster representatives on, was it LASA, get there? I don't remember appointing anybody to that.
No, we asked that question 4 different ways, 4 times, and never got a good answer. They said they'd get back to us.
So what are we going to do about it?
We outlined 4 items, as the vice mayor said, which was more money.
No, I mean,
and
what are we going to do about making certain the people who are representing Lancaster actually represent Lancaster?
The vice mayor suggested, and I think they're going to take it back, that it be an elected official from Lancaster and an elected official from Palmdale.
Okay, good.
That along with a representative from the coalition, so that the appointed individual can be elected from the coalition, but the representative from the city of Lancaster be an elected official. That way we can appoint an individual who we need. They said that we need to start advocating for more money down there. We pointed out to them that SPA 4 gets $4,500 per person. SPA 1, which we're in, gets $279 per person. So we're grossly underfunded.
It's cheaper to live here, isn't it?
It's cheaper to die here.
Okay, so we're working on it, right?
Very much so, and I think it was a pretty pointed meeting. It was a very good meeting, pretty pointed. The folks that were there seemed to take ownership, which has been a first, so that was somewhat of a breakthrough.
And they are appointing a liaison from LASA up here that's
there's-
directly, will have an office in Lancaster from now on.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was a young lady there who is based in Lancaster and will be our representative.
Maybe we should put her in City Hall.
Baby steps. I don't think it was a warm and accommodating place today.
I'm so disappointed in you guys. We had a bullying program here today. Didn't you see it? Didn't you learn anything?
You signed it.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Moving on.
Mr. Allen, criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Yes.
Criminal justice took up the business licensing ordinance 5.04 in the last meeting. We've given some recommendations to Ms. Corbin, and recommended that the council take it up when that legislation is ready out of their office.
Thank you. Planning?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief update. The commission last meeting approved a conditional use permit for a new restaurant in your neighborhood. Matter of fact, a new sushi restaurant that's taking over the space where a former liquor store was located. One down, 27 to go.
Where's that at?
In Clock Tower Plaza. You can actually walk there.
I could.
No. We have been considering a large number of tentative tract map approvals and on extensions. Frankly, some have been extended, however, with new conditions. Others have been denied. So it's possible that those actions may be appealed to the City Council. I have no idea if they are. But if they are, you'll be hearing from some of the folks whose tract map extensions have been denied because they were in nonconformance with the general plan or the zoning regulations in our city.
Thank you.
Mr. Wells, I have a question in regards to one of the tract maps that you had. You made the representation that it was the City Council that changed the...
Actually, I was incorrect after I went back and read the meeting minutes from 2009, I think it was.
Okay.
That particular action was a split vote by the Planning Commission, 4-3, I believe it was. So I was in the minority. And the City Council did, in fact, agree to modify that particular tract to include commercial designation on about a third of it as opposed to all residential.
Okay. Thank you.
So what's the name of the sushi place?
I couldn't pronounce it if I wanted to. Maybe Mr. Ludicky remembers.
I believe it's Okami.
Did you say Kami?
Okami. O-K-A-M-I.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's go to the speaker card. City clerk.
No, city manager.
What?
City manager.
Oh, city manager. Did I skip over you?
Glad I'm on top of this.
Do you have some edited comments for us?
Yes, I actually do. I was thinking them through as you were speaking. I have two announcements. I'm going to have staff make two quick announcements, then we have a video on the Senior Expo. The two announcements are that the County Office of Emergency Management will be at Joe Walker School this Friday and Saturday, and we will publicize it to sort of provide what resources are available to anyone that was impacted by the floods, and we'll make sure that we publicize that. It's in the Joe Walker Gymnasium. You will recall, I know Waterworks 40 will, that they've been here a couple of times to address this council, and you asked for some feedback. They've determined they don't want to come back again, so we are making a request for them. They did give us a path forward. We made an official request to the Board of Supervisors to undertake the analysis that this council and mayor had asked for, which was combining sanitation and Waterworks 40. So we've made that official request, and we'll see what happens. We do have two good announcements. First, I'd like Brian to talk about a rather large slug of money from a grant we just got.
The the city applied for funds under the state's active transportation planning and grant program, and we received 2 programs and funding for those. Overall, these projects together total about $9.5 million. Of that total, over $7 million is funded through the grant program through the state. And those 2 projects, the first one will be an improvement on 10th Street West between Avenue H and Lancaster Boulevard. That will add pedestrian improvements, bulb outs in some intersections, and new bike lanes, including the city's first cycle track, which is a fully protected bike lane on a portion of that street. And so we are looking forward to that. The second one is actually one of the largest awards that the state's ever given under this program. Over $7 million project total. The state is going to provide $6.2 million of that funding. And what that will do is within about a 13 square mile area of the city's core, we will be able to close a lot of the pedestrian gaps that exist, adding sidewalks, providing better access to bus stops, adding some additional curb bulb outs and things of that type that will make it safer for many of our most vulnerable citizens, our senior citizens and our school children, to make it safely to and from school, to make it safely to the transit stops that they rely on. Funding actually will come into the city during the next fiscal year, so we will be able to begin these improvements in the year 2016, starting with the new fiscal year. But we're very excited about this. One thing that I think I would like to add is that the state actually had people come out and look at our city on this $6 million award because I'm not sure they were certain that we really needed it. And I think that they were very, very impressed not only by what they have seen the city do over the last few years with encouraging biking and walking, but also the need that we still have out there. So, I think our staff, particularly in the capital section of engineering, did a great job in putting these grant applications together, and we're very excited.
Thank you. That's really cool. Good job.
It's outstanding in terms of the what it's going to do for this community. I would add what Brian said. We would not have got this had we not been walking the walk that we say in terms of making improvements all these years. So council should be very proud, and the commissions, Architectural Design Commission in particular, is one who's really pushed this in the bikeway plan. So this is an outgrowth of citizen involvement that has a direct result of $7 million for the city of Lancaster. Very big deal. Less dollars, but no less impressive, is our newest business, which is the passport business out of the city clerk's office. And to give you a report on their initial successes is Linda Bodarius from the clerk's office.
Well, thank you. We began taking passports on behalf of the U.S. Department of State on Tuesday, October 6th, and I'm happy to report we've actually already taken in 88 passports in the last 3 weeks. We are booked up several weeks' worth, and it's just a great service to give to the community. They are very, very happy when they come to our counter to get their passport processed.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
And the dollar amount is over $2,000 so far collected.
Yes, we collected a total of $2,600 based on passport execution fee and the photo processing.
Thank you.
So, very good.
Allison.
And lastly,
let's look at Water District 40.
Okay.
I want to look at their billing. Remember how we audited some of the vendors to the city, and next thing you know, they had to give us a few $1 million?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Water District 40.
Okay.
I mean, really, I want to focus some real attention on them.
Okay.
All
we
right.
can look at, I'll maybe talk to you afterwards or tomorrow about specific areas that you want to look at, but yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Sure.
Thank you.
Last, I know that Mayor Paris and Angela Underwood-Jacobs participated in the Senior Expo, which is a great event, and we have a short video to show on that.
Thank you.
We're here at the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds where High Desert Medical Group is hosting the 25th Annual Senior Expo.
Just from walking in just a little bit ago, I have to say, what an amazing event with so many people. The turnout is fantastic. Walking over here and seeing how many people that are actually here to be served today, the fact that Lancaster, the city of Lancaster, they go out of their way to accommodate and make people feel comfortable, and they're very supportive. I have to say, I personally think that the city of Lancaster, they have the best team ever. I look forward to meeting the Senior of the Year.
It's a pleasure to be part of this great group. The senior population is so integral in our country, and this is their celebration. We've got flu clinics, we've got raffles, we've got giveaways, we've got a special guest. I think the word is out already. But and we have a lot of dignitaries in the community that will be here to recognize the senior population. Well, our mission is healthcare, and to keep everybody healthy, and the senior population is something that we've done for a long time, and I've been blessed to be a geriatrician. But today is to celebrate, and that's what we want to do.
It's fantastic. It's like a family, and that's why I've always loved coming to work every day. It's not a big company. Even though it's under the umbrella of a fairly large company, it's always been like a family working here.
What we're particularly sponsoring is the Senior of the Year Award, and that's a great event that's gone on for a long time, and it recognizes some people who are really worthwhile and important to this community, who spend a lot of time, their volunteer time, on the community.
Who do you guys think's gonna win the Senior of the Year?
Jim Harris!
Thank you. That's all I can say.
We will be making a Veteran Service Organization Award today. They are the small committee that brings us the very big Antelope Valley Mobile Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
They say that some wells keep people out, and our well bring people in. And it's very emotional. Every person that goes to visit it, whether they are a veteran or not a veteran, whether they have someone, a relative or not, is touched, very touched here.
This is a great group of people that show up here every year. And I think they learn a lot, they get a lot of good information, and they have fun. I think Lancaster does a terrific job. I've been a Lancaster resident since 1957. I was 10 years old when we came here, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Whenever anybody touches this community in a way that has a profound effect on all of us, what we do is we give them a key to the city. It's not something we give to everybody. You have to have had a profound impact that changes our lives. And nobody exemplifies that as much as Richard Merkin. And it is my extreme honor to present the key to the city to Dr. Richard Merkin.
Good, thank you. City Clerk.
This is the time to address the City Council, agency, and authority on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter may be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Sheree Davis.
Good evening to everyone that's in the room. I was ill-prepared today. This is kind of my first time here. Well, it is my first time here. My name is Sheree Davis. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs, and I don't do any excessive spending. I have 3 vocational trades, one of which was 2 years, and that was administered by the government, and I'm 2 classes short from completing my degree. Yet I am homeless. I am among the homeless. My question to this council is, What programs are there that are being administered that are helping the homeless? Right now, it's cold. The challenges that we run into are not easy. It would be nice to have the problems of the flooding of the homes and the walkways. It would be really grand to have those type of problems, and instead of worrying about where you're going to sleep at night or how you're going to keep yourself safe. I am a single parent, and I have always worked, and I have always paid my taxes. Currently, like I said, I'm having financial trouble due to loss of employment and high unemployment here in the Antelope Valley. I've checked several of the resources. However, they are either extended or no longer in existence. Being homeless creates additional problems, not only where to sleep, where to eat, where to take care of yourself, but you have unnecessary run-ins with people and or entities that you would otherwise be able to avoid if you weren't in that situation. Again, I'm unfamiliar with any of the additional programs that you have going on. I know you have the OASIS program, and I know you have the Grace Resource program. To my understanding, both those programs are limited in funding and or sources where they draw upon. So I would like to know, what is the city of Lancaster doing, or Antelope Valley period doing, to help people become employed? Because your employment rates are still very high. So I'm wondering, what is the city of Lancaster doing to help the unemployed, to help those that have contributed to the system when we were working, when we were fully employed, paying our taxes? Certain programs were set up for those people, and now that those people who paid into the system need those resources, they're not available. Thank you.
Thank you. Wally Melendez.
Good evening, City Council and staff. I apologize. I got a nosebleed, so I'm not going to use the podium. And I wrote on my card, city culture. And that's the best idea I could come up with tonight. As a matter of, with all due respect, I do think that a lot of people here, most of the people here, all of the people here are very talented and educated. But there's a matter of principle, Citizens like myself and many others, we value principle. And we get our principles from the U.S. Constitution. And I don't want to talk about politics, and I don't want to talk about elections, but I just want to say that even the U.S. Constitution says that elections are to be held, local and state and federal elections are to be held the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So the principle is this, that the population at large, the non-elites, let's say, the non-college degree and talented people that we have in this room, they can't keep up with the elites. And when they change the dates on the elections, they miss the elections. So it's a matter of principle. So I can guarantee you, and I don't want to talk about elections, but what I am going to say is this. There are certain sections in town, in Lancaster, in the jurisdiction of Lancaster, certain sections that are, and here's a big D word, dilapidated. They are dilapidated. And the reason they're dilapidated is because they have the people that live there, they don't have any representation in the city council to come and say, we put sidewalks, or it's dilapidated, do something about it. See, so if you get...
Thank you, Wally.
So if you get my...
Thank you, Wally.
So if you get
Thank you, Wally.
So if
Thank
you
you.
get my principle...
V. Woods.
Good evening, everybody.
Aye.
I'm thinking spontaneously, I think we need the non-bullying over at the senior center. We are still, some cantankerous seniors are over there. We need some advice on non-bullying. So I'd like for you to think about that. And then I did go to the expo and had a very nice time. I got there at 1 o'clock though, and I got a bowl of the turkey chili, and it was served out of a styrofoam water barrel with no heat applied to it. I then became food poisoning for 48 hours. I was vomiting, and I wondered if there was a way we could watch the temperature of the food with the health department so we don't get sick next time on non-hot food. And then I'd like to say that Palmdale has computers at the Legacy Commons, and they have computer classes all the time for our seniors. And then right in the City Hall is a paid telephone, and I noticed over here that you jerked out the paid telephones in this building. Last summer, I forgot my phone, and I came in here, it was 104 outside, and I tried to call my son, and I asked 4 women in these counters if they would dial my telephone, my son's number, and they said no. 4 of your women said no. You really have them trained well. I know that this place is not a place for a person who's in trouble. I'm over there at Palmdale, and I see this beautiful payphone right on a wall. I've been here 3 years now, coming here often, and I wonder when you're going to give us the dignity to have a payphone in this building, or at least tell your employees to help people out. I had to go over to the Boulevard Theater, where they treat us with dignity. They treat us seniors with dignity at the Boulevard Cinema. Thank God for them. They would check my bag. They'd telephone numbers for me. I greet them. They greet me by name. I love that place over there. There's safety over there. There's no other place, safe place in this town for seniors. So I'd like to say that I had a nice time at the Senior Expo, but I had a problem, so I wanted to get some relief for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, I had an opportunity today to address the AVTA board about the bus shelter in front of the senior center, and I have good news that the AVTA is going to handle that situation. But in the interim, I don't know if it's the city's responsibility or AVTA or whomever, but the director of the center says that the area by the bus shelter is not being serviced and cleaned. The trash isn't being emptied. So in the interim, until we get another bus shelter over there at Stop, I wonder if the city can make it a point to stop by and empty the trash and make sure the area is clear in front of the senior center. Thank you.
You guys aren't emptying the trash? All right, Jason Zink. I put you guys on that commission to empty the trash. No.
Okay, I'll just do a few things. I got it. The vets meeting and the high-speed rail meeting, I called Palmdale and I called Lancaster's media communication department because I wanted them to record the meeting to put on channel 27, 28 for the public. It was a very good meeting, very informative. You know it's going to affect a lot of businesses. You guys probably couldn't attend it. So can we pay somebody to do a camera and record? It was very good what happened there. So maybe you guys could work on that. The solar farms in the rural areas, we do not, trust me, you do not want to use chain link fence right along the main streets. When you have the Poppy Festival, you want people to go through an industrial complex to go see the poppies? No, trust me, put white rail fences, then some trees and bushes, and then put the chain link fence. Trust me. Temporary asphalt sidewalks and bikeway on 20th Street East, from I to K4 and Avenue J to 20th Street East to 40th Street East. There are no sidewalks going to Walmart or Stater Brothers for that area. You said East Side. Here's East Side. That's the regional center. And I will say that it would be like having no sidewalks or bike lanes going to the boulevard.
We just got a grant for those.
Huh?
We just got a grant.
Okay, but that should have been required when Walmart went in. Library funds. There was funds left over at the last meeting. I'd like to see a facelift of the library, like the one in the branch down in Chicago. I believe this is, and it has all the Play-Doh and all that stuff of our best books that we ever did instead of that concrete wall. Or maybe there needs to be upgrades in the library. We should use those funds instead before paying the bonds off. The other thing, the DMV going on, the new DMV for the state is planned on 8th Street West and Avenue L6. Is this going to hurt our businesses on Avenue I? Why isn't there a public meeting about this? How can these deals happen without the public being known? Does that make any sense to you guys? Are those businesses, those businesses are going to be impacted if that DMV closes. I believe, we need a regional DMV office, but it should be right across from the courthouse because there's so many problems with the DMV and the courthouse. They're intertwined with so many dealings. That would be convenient. Not on L6 and 8th Street. What kind of real estate deal is that? The hospital lawsuit. I went to the Palmdale City Council meeting, and I suggested Ledford was there, so I suggested, why doesn't Mayor Paris or someone from City of Lancaster and Palmdale and the hospital board go to the Board of County Supervisors and say, we're not being treated fairly? But it's really our problem, that whole thing, because 4 of the county supervisors weren't even around when that thing was approved, and they're just now hearing about it. These people don't know. They probably never even got out of their car. They just drove through town. So this would be a good way for you to introduce yourselves to the County Board of Supervisors to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. So when you mentioned my name at the Palmdale Council meeting, was there resounding applause or no? It didn't happen, huh? Okay. Yeah, that's who I want to drive down there with. George Betty.
That's not good, Mayor. That's not good.
What did I say? I said, yeah, that's who I want to drive down there with.
No, that's not good for Antelope Valley. That has to stop.
Mayor, City Council members, ladies and gentlemen, I have been sitting here a little late, listening to all these people come up with these ideas on funds being short here, short there. Why are we one of the very few cities that have a 50 and 55 mile-an-hour speed limits going through our city limits? Why is it not 45 max? As they mentioned, 20th Street East is undergoing construction. They've got a blinking red light and it's a stop sign. Now last week you had a couple of deputies out there motorcycles, and they were very busy. I'm sure they made more than their wages, okay? Probably plus 10, 15 other deputies' wages. Point being, this morning, I go over, 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, and they're streaming going through the red lights. They're not stopping. If we need funds for all these programs that we're talking about here, it's being short, library, like the thing that he talked about, the Avenue H through I and stuff, development. Is 50 and 55 mile an hour speed limits going to be included in that, or are we going to reduce it to 45 and be sensible?
You know, the thing that took me a while to understand was that we don't set the speed limits. You know, that's set. Wait a minute.
You're a city.
Wait a minute. Let me finish. There is a formula that they have to use in setting the speed limits various places throughout the city. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. And it's based on a lot of research as to what is the safest based upon all of the information that they have. The other thing is, you know, cities used to do speed traps all the time. You know, they kind of thought maybe cities shouldn't be the ones that had that much discretion.
There's no trap. I mean, they're sitting there and they're doing it.
But it's not, what I'm trying to say, it's not a simple process. Like, I cannot pick up the phone and tell Mark, change that to 45 miles an hour. He can't do it. He doesn't have the authority to do it.
We're down to 45.
I'm sorry, what?
I say in the construction area, we've got speed reduced to 45. That's the speed limit used on the freeway.
That's because it's a construction zone.
Not under the city. We have no control over our own city speed limits? That makes
George,
no
I'm telling you, it's not as simple as it sounds.
Last time I was here, you said it was compared to the nation. Well, I'm not interested in the nation. I'm interested in the city.
I don't remember the last time you were here on it, but we do the best we can, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I do commend you, too. We do have meetings twice a month. Palmdale's once a month, unless they've changed that. And it's rather late, 7 o'clock at night before they start. What are they trying to hide?
Thank you. Fran, I saved you for last. I need a ray of sunshine. Can you give me that? Maybe not, huh?
You'll get the ray.
Start out with something nice.
Yeah, I will. I have a lot to say, but not enough time, so I'm going to break it down to what I think is the most important thing to say right now. It says in the paper that you want to close down the Lancaster Community Shelter if and when the high desert gets open. Now, I spoke at the supervisor's meeting last Tuesday, and I brought this up to Antonovich. He said, yes, high desert is going to open. He did not tell me how much. I asked him, we need help and we need monies. And that's another question I was going to ask. Oh, I didn't even say hello to everybody. I'm sorry. How much money are we getting from the supervisors for this opening? And when is it going to open?
Marvin? October 15th is the date that they set. Within 2 weeks of that date, those buildings should be open. Last Friday, the county inspectors went out there and they looked at it. Grace Resources is out there, and they're going to open it as soon as possible.
And how much money are we getting for it?
I don't think it came with any money.
No money?
No money.
Well, how are we supposed to open it?
Well, our faith-based community is footing the bill at this moment, but there's no money from LASA, there's no money from the county at this time. We're working on it.
What happened to the $6 million grant that Grace Resources got way back in May sometime? What happened to that grant? No?
I didn't hear about that.
Okay. As far as the senior center, real quick, and Thomas says that they're working on it, but I also know that you need basically another partner in there because you have the county and you have the city of Lancaster, and we need another partner to get this the senior center built. or whatever, on the green land. I call it the grass area. And I was just thinking, how about have you contacted High Desert Medical Group? Because they do a lot of good for our seniors there at the senior center. And I just thought you might consider that. Now, on the homeless situation, the temporary housing, is that only going to be temporary? What happens after the floods and everything goes down the drain? What happens to all our homeless? Where are they going to go, and what is going to happen to them after all that?
The funding is temporary. We're asking for it to be a permanent shelter. The outbuildings on the old High Desert Hospital are being opened up. It will house approximately 100 people. So those two outbuildings that you looked when you were out there, those outbuildings are going to be open, not the main facility. Once the main facility is open, then we should have it open for 350 people plus those outbuildings. So we need the money to do that. We asked LASA today for $2 million to get us through the winter months.
Okay, because, because Antonovich said that he was going to hand this over to somebody in HUD over here in Lancaster. Is that?
That is LASA.
That is LASA. Okay, I guess, okay. I guess that's the most important part of my conversation. Oh, one more thing, if I may. No, I forget it.
Fred, are any of the seniors feeling bullied over there?
Well, okay, you're going to have that no matter where you go or what you do, no matter if you're a youngster or an oldster or in-betweener. For my part and for what I have observed, it's a very good atmosphere. Okay. I do have, and I am going to bring up the food over there is atrocious, to say the least. I tried it a few times.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, they bring it in from two hours away from Covina, and it's frozen, and they have to put it into microwaves to heat it up for the seniors, and half the time it's not even cooked. I ate it about 2 weeks ago to try it out again, and my hamburger, it was, I guess, supposed to be meatloaf. My hamburger meat was raw on the inside, and things were cold. And this is one of the things I'm bringing up to Antonovich, too, and to the building of the senior center, because we do need our kitchen running. We have the equipment.
They used to cook it there, didn't
Yeah, they did. They did. And they'd just be okay. So that's one thing. But no, the camaraderie there, we have a good time.
Okay.
And,
it's not like the council where you have somebody like Marvin bullying the councilman.
No. We have, though, that's my part. No. I just wanted to say, I got to do this. I didn't get a chance to work it Tuesday because I was on a senior trip, day trip. But I told Jocelyn I was going to wear it. I thank you very much. Oh, I do want to say one very important thing about the closing of the community center, Lancaster Community Center. That center only opens from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 8 o'clock the next morning. The only reason that center is there is to sleep, and I think it houses 150 people. Okay? And they just sleep there and they can bathe there, but that's it. The morning, they all have to leave, no matter what. So after that, they're out in the streets. So I just thought I wanted to put this in the paper myself, but I haven't had a chance to. People don't realize that the community center, they all think that you're being the bad guy by wanting to close it. And I don't agree with them. I think what you're doing is the right thing, keeping everything in 60, and they don't even realize that they're going to be bused from here to there because they're saying, well, what's the transportation? How are they going to get there? The paper doesn't say anything about none of the good things. They don't say what the center does. They don't say what you're going to offer at 60 and I. Besides housing, you're going to have the medical facilities there for them, and you're going to have mental and health and different counseling programs up there, and the people don't know this.
Friend, we're not only going to do that, but we've also talked to the high schools, we talked to the University of Antelope Valley, we talked to the college about offering other facilities out there to them to help support them so they no longer become homeless, or they aren't homeless. So all the facilities will be there so we can help these people get back into society. We had a lady talk earlier, all she needs is a little help. So we're going to offer that help to those people and see if we can get them back on the right track.
Great. That's what I like to hear.
Thanks,
you very
Fran.
much. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, this is my turn.
I noticed. So, we're off the air. Do you know? Yeah.
So much for Joe's communication.
What? We're still on?
No, it just went back on.
Oh, now we're back on. Okay. All right, we don't have a executive session?
No.
Good. Any comments from the city council before we close? We're all good? The city council meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, November 10, 2015 at 5 p.m. And Jason, are you waiting for it? Wait for it. Carol, I'm coming home.